Sorry, we're closed.
Welcome back, guys. Another episode, the post-Super Bowl episode of Sorry We're Closed. Sean, did you watch the entire game? Because I think we might be one of the only podcasts that don't include I'm going to even include girls in this. I'm going to say we're probably one of the only podcasts where there are two hosts and one of them did not watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I think they said on NBC it was 11.4 million people watched it, which actually sounds like a lot. Super low.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot low. I can't.
I'm just now thinking like, I'm just now thinking like that's like nobody.
Yeah, that's nobody. That's nobody.
It's like how many people tune into The Simpsons on Sunday.
Yes. I'm Googling it right now because I do not believe that in it. Yes. Rams Super Bowl win had a total audience of 112.3 million people.
Oh, it's one digit off.
That's what it was. You were just
but that's still, if you really think about that, that means that pretty much everybody in the country didn't watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 200 million people did Super Bowl. I wonder how they
if you poll the entire country, you'll probably not find anybody who watched the stupid thing.
Thing is, how do you know, like a party, 30 people show up to one house, watch the TV? They're obviously estimating. Obviously, there's no way they would know that. But or Green Rock, like there's 7 TVs, but there's 300 people in there watching the game.
Yeah, I actually just read something about this. So interesting that you bring this up. They used to, like Nielsen's or somebody like that who used to do these things. They would like tap into like 100 boxes in America, like 100 cable boxes in America, and they would just extrapolate that out over 300 million. They're like, okay, well, 90 people watched it, so 90% of America watched this show.
Yeah, they do that with polling. Like they'll poll 1,000 people on whatever particular type of subject, and then just extrapolate it out throughout the entire country. But yeah, I did. So I did, for the folks at home, I did not watch the Super Bowl because I was traveling. I went out to LA for the Super Bowl, stayed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, traveled during the Super Bowl. I had a layover in Charlotte. The game was on. I actually sat in a booth. I requested a booth, not because it wasn't by a TV, but it happened to not be by a TV. So I didn't know what was going on. I'm not sure I saw a single snap that was live of the game, which I think might be the first time. I can't remember the last time I didn't watch the Super Bowl. Like, how do you not watch the Super Bowl? Interestingly enough, I think we might be one of the few podcasts that didn't have someone watching it.
Yeah, I also think that like as we get older, like the lure of the Super Bowl isn't what it used to be, especially in today's entertainment age of all. Like I can't even watch Quinnipiac, the team I played for. I'll start watching that game and I'll be like, I could be watching Ozark right now. Like it's way sicker than this. And so I think that like the lure of like this big like TV event is kind of subsided. I wonder even if the marketing dollars are subsided on that as well, where, a lot of companies aren't the exposure that you get in that event isn't the same that it used to be. It's just kind of like, and then as you get older, like it's not, the Super Bowl doesn't have the same appeal to it anymore. At least to me, I am certainly jaded being a former professional sports person, but
yeah, we're also, we have things that we don't remember sometimes is that although we're not kids anymore, there is another generation of kids behind us that feel the same way we feel.
No, they all read Tony Robbins' Life Force with me this morning.
Yes, of course. But the one thing I'm going to ask the person who watched the damn game, because I didn't watch the fucking thing. I saw something on TikTok today. It was, I forget the guy's name. He's one of those guys that likes to stir the pot. Comparing Matt Stafford now, because a lot of people are now talking about how good Matt Stafford actually is.
Okay.
And comparing him to Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Now, if you looked at his statistics, I have the screenshot.
I mean,
for this.
I think he led the NFL in interceptions this year.
Matt Stafford did.
I think I heard that.
Okay,
so I don't.
So Matt Stafford in the playoffs versus Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs.
Okay.
So Aaron Rodgers is 11-10 in the playoffs. Matt
this
Stafford,
is career.
Career.
Has Stafford ever been in the play? Oh man, this guy is moving into the hotel outside my window, and his entire luggage cart just collapsed.
Oh, that is stuff. Oh, just so other people know that the non-YouTubers, this is our second ever Zoom call for the thing because Sean is on a lovely vacation. Well, kind of vacation. Wait, how many days is it?
I'm shredding the gnar. I'm here for 3 days.
Shredding the gnar, doing the old skis. I actually was telling a story. We were talking about you. I went out with some friends, which we will get to now that I want to talk about that now as well. But I was talking to some friends about skiing and how I was like, my brother does it. I've never done it. My brother, though, talks about how you have to commit to the pizza. If you don't fully commit to the pizza, you are in grave danger.
You better not be coming out here with no Papa John slice. This needs to be the New York special.
I showed them. They were talking about. Didn't you have like an incident where you kind of went too fast and you had to turn off?
Yeah, I was going like 70 miles an hour with no ability to stop on my first run ever.
So what I was saying was, if you just keep going at it, that's when you really start to see things go through. I can't fucking.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, man. I couldn't stop, and my friends weren't having fun. So of course I had to put my life in danger at that point.
Dude, that was good. But anywho, so you're on a vacation doing a little skiing. But back to Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers. So career, I'm going to run through the stats for you. Career in the playoffs. Matt Stafford's 4-3 in the playoffs, so he has been in the playoffs other than this year.
Wow, surprises me.
Aaron Rodgers is 11-10. You gotta remember that Matt Stafford once had Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, but I guess
they're pretty good.
Like sort of remember them being in like the first round a couple times, but
even 4-3. I mean, he won. How many playoff games did he win this year? 4?
3 or 4.
3 or 4. So yeah, he's only been. Probably has only a few more times in the playoffs since he's 4-3. But Aaron Rodgers 11-10. Completion percentage in the playoffs 66.9 for Aaron Rodgers, 64.7 for 66.9 for Matt Stafford, 64.7 for Aaron Rodgers. So better.
Okay.
Passing yards per game 299.4 for Stafford, 267.9 for Rodgers. And then passer rating 99 for Stafford, 100.1 for Rodgers. So the first victory for him. And then there's another one, but the TikTok comment is in the way. Something about other things, and Stafford won that too. I don't know what it says though. But so what they're saying essentially is that can you make the argument that Stafford's better solely because the first time he's ever been on a competent team in a competent organization, he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I don't know how hot of a take this is, but I think you could actually probably make the argument. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Matt Stafford once was the highest paid player in the NFL.
I believe you're right.
And when he got the contract, it just felt kind of awkward because we're like, he's just, he's on the Lions here. They're never going to really amount to anything, but people hyped him up a lot as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't know that I would definitely not put my foot down and say that Aaron Rodgers is better. I mean, you think about everything that goes along with performance, like being on a consistent winner. Like has consistency over 2 decades, maybe 15 years. I don't know how long he's been there with the Packers and the organization and all that stuff. What is Stafford doesn't have that luxury. So we don't really know. Like, I don't know, man. I think that Rodgers is probably at this moment a better quarterback, but like from like a how good could you actually be standpoint, I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, you watch Aaron Rodgers, and this is actually kind of the point the guy was making, was he's like kind of the chosen one by the media. He's cool. Like when he's going on a game-winning drive. I think
just actually, standing in the pocket, like that's.
I think that was actually the last stat, was game-winning drives in the playoffs, and Stafford had 3, Rodgers had 2.
I mean, Rodgers is remarkable, a remarkable.
He just stands there. It doesn't even seem like he's nervous in any way. And you just like, I remember when it was me and you in fantasy playing each other, and I just knew at the end, because we were getting close now, because I was up 70, and now all of a sudden Rodgers and Devontae put up 70 themselves, and it just they were going down their last minute drive, and you just knew that it was going to be a Devontae Adams touchdown. And it was there was nothing the defense could do about it.
I mean, I watched Rodgers all season, put balls in windows that, I mean, I couldn't even do it in Madden. They would not let me do it. They would really not let me do it in Madden.
Madden sucks.
All Madden level is just a joke. But I mean, I think, but when you look at the playoffs and stuff, like, I think that is a definite thing for Rodgers. Like, he's won 1 Super Bowl. I mean, they didn't lose at all this year. Like, they walked through the regular season, like literally, like they didn't even care. And then I forget who they lost to in the first round, but and just like he said like 180 yards or something, and I don't even know if he had a touchdown. Like the week before, he had 7 touchdowns. Like I can't imagine he's nervous or something like that. You know, at
the end of the day, everyone's human. Everyone is human, and it's just you have a lot of controversy around you already because of how he's acting in free agency, or not free agency, but like trying to be out of Green Bay supposedly. They always had that shit around his family. I still don't know what the hell's going on over there. And now you're talking about playoffs and not being able to win there, that at least not that much. I mean, it's definitely, there's something to be made. There's a point to be made here about him in the playoffs. And if you are a human being, like you're going to think about that.
And I guess once it's like one and done, like you're feeling it, you're like, okay, here we go. Got to win these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you're in the, like people's scouting reports change in the playoffs. Like I'm sure there's different things they don't want. Like if you're a playoff caliber team, I'm sure not that he played Bill Belichick, but you talk about like some of the greats, they used to talk about Greg Maddux, how he would, you would never see the same stuff that you see in spring training when you face them in the regular season.
Yeah, I know they do. I know they do that in football where they keep stuff back. They even did that in basketball.
They might even, if the game is not that meaningful, you might even throw some stuff out there that sets you up for the playoffs. Where like, okay, we're gonna transition I don't know enough about football schemes, but our free safety is gonna move this way a lot this game because we're gonna know Aaron's gonna pick up on it, and then in the playoffs we'll be able to have. We know that he's going to think that this is going to happen, and it's not. Something like that. I don't know, but I mean, I think it has to be talked about how Stafford's doing what he's doing. I still think Aaron Rodgers is the better quarterback, though.
Yeah, I definitely will look at like the next few years and see how it continues to go. But like, I would say it's on the radar for sure.
100%. Now, the next thing I want to mention, and this is I wanted to transition a little bit here to basketball. And this is going to be more for you, but I think it's a good topic because this is kind of talked about in the era of me and you growing up where we both liked basketball in the NBA. Have you seen the latest comments from Kevin Garnett?
No.
Okay. So I'm a Red Sox fan, so I don't want people to think I'm hating on Boston, but that Celtics team always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And
I agree. I felt the same way, but we were big LeBron guys at the time.
Yes, we were big LeBron.
Paul Pierce was a real like villain in that role.
Yes, and honestly, the way Kevin Garnett kind of talks after his career, I saw one tweet responding to this quote, being like, the way they talk about that team in Boston, you felt like they would have won 5 championships, not 1. Which is
true.
They do talk so much about it. The thing that, and I'm going to read the quote and then we can dive into it. Kevin Garnett, it's titled, Kevin Garnett criticized the state of the NBA today. And he says, everybody's just running from the grind nowadays, teaming up with each other. Back in my day, we did it the hard way. If you can't win alone, you're considered a bum, period. Now, is he saying himself is a bum? Because he surely did not win a championship by himself in Minnesota.
Yeah. I'll give him a little credit because I actually remember when the Big Three was created, and it was via trade, and not like James Harden being like, trade me to the Nets.
Okay, I did not know that. I did not know that wasn't free agency. They had
it
put
was
together trades.
It was a draft night thing where Paul Pierce had been on the team for a really long time. I can't say for
Did
sure.
Paul Pierce play for anyone else than Boston in his career?
Afterwards he was on the Clippers for sure.
Okay,
I think there might have been another team mixed in as well. He was actually effective for the Clippers. He wasn't like an old, like Scottie Pippen on the Blazers or something.
Yeah, but his whole career he played like an old man.
Yeah,
I don't remember Paul Pierce ever posterizing people really.
He ran around the court like he was prairie dogging.
Yeah, I remember everyone always was talking about how slow he was, but somehow always was just able to get shots off.
Yeah, I always felt the same way. I think so. Yeah, it happened on draft night, I believe, years ago, where they traded for Garnett and Ray Allen. I think on like the same day. And I think I was watching the TV like, oh my god, that is insane. And I think I know Glenn Big Baby Davis, big player on that team. I think he was a draft guy. I want to say Rondo was his too, right around that time. And so no, I don't think he's right. I don't like the teaming up kind of Big Three thing. The Warriors made that a reality. I mean, they did really good player development. They got Curry and Clay, and they changed the NBA. They changed basketball as we know it.
Yeah.
And it became really hard. It became really hard to guard those guys. And then we had to do something. The NBA had to do something about it. So we started seeing these super teams. Then they just went out and got Kevin Durant and just made things really, really hard to keep people, to keep that grind mentality around. I actually think that we're seeing the end of the Big Three era, the super team era right now, because we're seeing that it doesn't really work that well. Yeah. And the Lakers are in shambles. The Nets are in shambles. Look, you look at the teams that are actually doing well. It's still the Warriors and the Phoenix Suns. Like those are and the Bucks. Like those are well-built NBA teams who got a couple great players through normal means. And you can't put Russell Westbrook on the Lakers and expect him to be Russell Westbrook. You can't put James Harden on the Nets and expect him to be James Harden. And you can't put James Harden on the Sixers where he is now and expect freaking Joel Embiid to continue being the MVP that he is. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I agree. I think people often forget, specifically in the NBA right now, the team aspect of it. Like you need, like you talk about baseball and making a baseball team. Theo Epstein, Ben Sherrington, these guys that have made these type guys out in LA, the guys in Tampa. Like, yeah, you have your guys, your studs, but you have to build a team around them of great role players that know their jobs, that know they're going to bunt guys over, they're going to do this, they're going to do the small things. When you put Kevin Durant, James Harden, I don't know who else was in Brooklyn, with Blake Griffin, Kyrie, you put them all on the same fucking team. They all want to be the superstar.
They're all ball dominant guys.
Yes. And that's what was so good, I thought, about the Warriors when they had Durant, was you had one Draymond Green who didn't give a shit if he scored a single point all day. All he wanted to do was disrupt the game, disrupt the other player.
You got to have a villain.
That's all he wanted to do. You had Klay Thompson who just wanted to sit in the corner and catch balls and shoot. Steph Curry who could handle the ball and do things. And then Kevin Durant who was going to be the guy. Kevin Durant was always the guy. And because he had the two guys that were around him that were pure shooters, you were able to kind of make that team around. Although they were all superstars, you kind of make that team around it. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, all wanted to shoot the ball constantly. Yeah.
Look, the Warriors made the game unfair. And it wasn't unfair. Also, they just got it was like a phenomenon of ungodly shooters. If it wasn't for the Warriors, LeBron would have 8 titles. The only reason he was losing to in his real prime was because he had to go up against them. And everyone always said LeBron doesn't have the team to do it. He had a good enough team to do it for sure. He was just going up against literally the greatest team of all time.
Yes.
I mean, now you want to compare that against the Bulls, the '98 Bulls. How do you stop the? The thing with the Warriors is they don't miss. They don't miss. They don't miss. They don't have off nights. Just Klay Thompson has the record for most points in a quarter at 36.
Yeah,
he scored 36 points in a quarter.
Yeah, the only thing that you talk about the '98 Bulls, I mean, you're talking about like three. If I remember correctly, Scottie Pippen was a phenomenal defender as well. You're talking about three.
Scottie Pippen was a phenomenal player.
Yeah, you're talking about three defensive studs in Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, and
Judd Bushler.
Judd Bushler, of course. Everyone can't forget Judd Bushler. You're talking about three. You're talking about Klay Thompson and Steph Curry being guarded by Michael and Scottie Pippen.
Yes.
And then you're talking Draymond Green and Dennis Rodman.
It's so
the thing you're going to struggle with
is
but the thing you're going to struggle with there is Judd guarding Kevin Durant? Like you have that fourth guy you need. Do you put like Judd Bushler on Draymond Green, a non-scorer, and you put Dennis Rodman over or Scottie Pippen on
dude, my first game with the Lakers, we played the Warriors. I forget where it was. I think it was in Vegas. And on the way out of the locker room to the tunnel for where the buses were, I was walking behind Kevin Durant the whole time. And I was like, oh my God, like this guy's huge. How the heck does this guy play that way? I don't know who. I think Pippen. I think Pippen's like 6'10" too.
Yeah.
So I think Pippen will probably guard him. But I mean, no matter who you're guard, but it's so incomparable with the way the game was back then. Like, I mean, our practice. I remember Tom Izzo when I was in school. I'd always tell stories about how Tom Izzo, after they lost, I heard that after they lost, they would be at practice the next day, and the team would be in football pads. And I heard that Roy Williams, when they lost, like a bad loss, he would just have the janitors just unscrew the rims off the backboard for practice, and it was just like, all right, folks, it's time to get bloody up in this place. And I mean, now you can't. There's none of flagrant one, flagrant two. Was there intent? You know, like it's just so. And I don't really. It's just a different game now, and like you cannot play the same way that you played back. Rodman is being jail if he was playing now.
Yeah, the thing that a reason why I think this Warriors team is probably, although no, not this one, but the best team of all time, probably. You know. There's two things here. One, the Warriors team just because Klay Thompson and Steph Curry can shoot from half court, and literally they will. It's not like they were like, oh, we can do it, we should respect it. No, they will pull up from there and drain them. So you just spread the court. The court is so much bigger now for Kevin Durant to drive the lane and things like that. The other thing though, and this is the caveat, and this might be just being my childhood speaking. And the idolization of Michael and those Bulls teams is I don't know of someone like the super competitor that Michael Jordan was in the NBA right now. Like Kevin Durant, although I think he's very competitive, I think he just always just seems like he doesn't care. Like if Michael Jordan lost to the Warriors in the regular season, I think he's doing everything in his fucking power to figure out that way to beat that team. Yeah. And not just be like, I think the Warriors would see things that they've never seen before on the court when they play the Bulls in the championship, because they're going to throw things at them they've never fucking seen, because they're going to try to fucking win this game. They're not going to just go out there and be like, okay, you're shooting threes, we're going to try to outscore you. No, we are going to do everything in our fucking power.
Bill Wennington is not just going to sit there and take this lightly.
No, he is not. So I think it would be an unbelievable series. I think the thing that pushes me is that I think that the '98 Bulls absolutely take it to the Cavaliers with Kyrie and LeBron, and they did beat them. They were able to beat them. Like LeBron was on a mission. You could tell he was on a fucking mission that year.
For like 6 years, LeBron was the greatest player of all time. Now LeBron is really good. So cringy to have on my television set.
I actually saw someone who was it? It was a reputable source talking about it too. They just said that they think, I think it was Shaq. Shaq has made mention recently. He said that Michael's still number 1 in his book. Kobe's 2, LeBron's 3. And he said, though, he goes, but I think LeBron's goal is to pass Kareem in total points. And then what the fuck are we all going to say then?
Yeah.
Like, how do you not say he's the greatest of all time?
Yeah. I mean, he has a point, but it's just like, when you watch the Lakers right now, they're not trying to win. He's not the same LeBron, and he's a damn good player, and he's killing it. But it's like the leadership stuff. Like when he was with Cleveland, there was no way they were not making the finals. There was no way they weren't going to have the best record in the NBA. Like they were on a mission. And now it's just like, it almost feels like I got this covered. Let me just make the playoffs and we'll try to make a run at that point. So to me, like Michael gets is better, even though he played, 14 years or something like that, as opposed to the 36 years that LeBron has played. I think that he's just such a savage, and it was just relentless. And I think, and Kobe was that way in the NBA right now. The first guy that comes to mind, I can't even think of his name, but it's that guy who was on the Clippers, Patrick Beverly. That's his name. Which is like a real like competitor dude. But you remember back in like those like even you saw in the Last Dance documentary, like they used to like before the game was over, the Pistons would like walk past the bench into their tunnel because like I'm not shaking your hand or whatever, and it's bad blood, whatever, bad sportsmanship, okay. But like today, it's just like everyone's just dapping each other up. We're all boys, and when I was in college, man, I mean, like we were fighting people at practice, and not to say that you should be fighting people in practice or in the games and stuff, but it's just something. There's just something to be said for like that winner's mentality, and I mean, The Last Dance is like an ode to that, right? Like nothing's better than watching Michael Jordan uncut go through that stuff. I think Tom Brady was like that too. Peyton Manning, I think, was like that. But in basketball now, who has that?
Yeah. And, there's probably some role players out there that are extraordinarily competitive that we just don't know because they're not Michael fucking Jordan or LeBron James. But
it's just different. It's just so different these days. It's just so different. And then you got your load management, which really rubs the old players the wrong way, which, with the strength and conditioning background, I understand what they're doing and protecting their assets. And what they're realizing is that game number 47 in Charlotte makes absolutely zero difference. Like the only thing that matters is you winning the championship. Then okay, then you're going to load manage your squad. But it's just it's a different world.
I will say, I love, I saw Kobe's wife come out and talk about, and it seems like I feel like I've seen a lot of people talk about this, so I don't know how accurate it is. But they were talking about how, like, he wanted to play every day because he remembered being a kid. And I think Mike Trout said the same thing.
Yep.
Trout's hurt a lot. If you're the one thing I will give to GOATs, guys that are studs, are in the conversation or talked about as one of the greatest of all time, the thing you get criticized the most on is how many championships have you won? Like, how many times have you done that? And so like I can certainly understand, after hearing that enough, just being like, all right, fuck you guys. I'm going to make sure that I'm ready to go in the playoffs because I'm not going to hear this shit anymore. I'm going to give myself the best opportunity to put you guys to rest. And then you do that. And now it's like, oh, well, now you're load management. Now you're doing, you don't play the regular season the way Michael did or the way Kobe did.
There's always going to be something. They got to fill up the airwaves on ESPN with First Take. They're pulling stuff. I was like, I saw like, I was at the gym the other day and I saw like the headline on ESPN was like, is Joe Burrow's time in Cincinnati, his day's numbered. And I'm like, oh my God. Like they probably like sneezed at a press conference and they're misinterpreting, and they're interpreting that as he's fed up with management.
What do you think about Joe Burrow? Joe Shiesty, as they call them.
I think he's a really good player, man. I think that
is he likable? Fuck his football skills.
Yeah, he's the reason that I wanted the Bengals to win. Like, it's like, I think he's, I think there's like some players that are winners and some players that like I think he's a winner. Like, I think, and if you look at, I think like LeBron James historically, not so much recently, but is a winner. I think like Russell Westbrook is not a winner. I think like, you see these guys on teams that are just like he's doing great, but your team is barely making the playoffs. Like I think Joe Burrow is just a guy who, if he's on your team, you're winning. And I think he's a winner. I think he's a likable guy. I think he dances on that line of like, dude, if you weren't winning, you'd be super cringy. But you're winning. So it's like, oh, dude, sick jean jacket blazer you got there.
Yeah. There was comparison of, and again, it's because Matt Stafford won that this comparison is thrown out there. But they showed like what Joe Burrow showed up to the Super Bowl in versus what Matt Stafford showed up to the Super Bowl in. And because Matt Stafford won, people had to compare as well. Matt just showed up to play. He was there to play. That's all he cared about. I'm like, okay, sure, like whatever. Yeah. Like the guy, yeah, all right. So he wore a look. I think it was like a zebra fucking suit. Like he looked good. I wish I could pull off the zebra suit, but I'm not fucking Joe Shiesty. Actually, don't wish I could pull off a zebra suit. To be fair, I don't. That's not on my to-do list. But he's become this guy. Like I built my fantasy team around him, and if he didn't have such a bad week one of our playoffs, I would have done very well. But he's got this cool aura about him. Like even when he won the national championship at LSU, like they had the picture of him like smoking the cigar, and just looking the part of the guy that now Tom Brady's leaving. Aaron Rodgers is certainly on the back end of his career. Is he the next generation of quarterbacks?
Certainly.
Is he going to be like that? Is that going to be the thing now? Like, is he leading the charge into this type of cool quarterback that shows up in those outfits and does those things? Who else would be even in that mix? I honestly have no idea. I've never seen someone dressed that way as a quarterback.
I think like the teams that would have you got Cam Newton. Cam Newton used to do that.
Oh yeah, but no one likes him.
Apparently
who's the guy in Arizona
really nice
who's the guy that left? Who seems seemingly leaving Arizona? The quarterback over there,
Kyler Murray.
Williams, Kyler Murray. Why was I saying Williams? I don't see him. He's really fucking good. But
all the reports out of Arizona right now is that he's like unprofessional, doesn't work very hard, and is like not super committed to playing football.
Interesting. Well, he was a big baseball player.
Yeah, it was like a 6th overall pick or something like that.
Yeah, I think he's a Boris client. But yeah, I mean, he unfollowed like that's what we're doing nowadays. This is news that he unfollowed at Cardinals from Instagram.
It is news though. Like that's a move. Like he knows what he's doing there. I want to know who's like crawling his page to find to check that out.
Oh, I'm sure there's. He might even just
some like software that you can like see it when like somebody like Arizona reporter is just has like anytime he unfollows somebody, I'm sure he gets some sweet notifications on that one.
Who knows? Who knows? It's fucking. I think it's ridiculous, but it is news. That's news. He's doing that to make news. So I wonder if he stays in Arizona next year. But I love Joe Shiesty. I want to put him on my fantasy team again next year. He's really good.
I'm definitely going for Aaron Rodgers. He's a great player. He's a great player. I think he's got if they have an offensive line.
What was holding them back?
Oh my God! I mean, they set the Super Bowl record for most sacks in a game, and
really?
The week before the week before they gave up 9 sacks,
so now
which was 2 more than they did in the Super Bowl.
I want to see, and this is again probably the childhood in me, but also I want to see if he doesn't have an offensive line next year. I want to see him make adjustments that Peyton Manning made in Denver when he had no offensive line. The ball was out in 0.5 seconds. Like he was a different guy.
You just can't see the field. There's no way you can do that quickly. Like that has to be something that just takes time and experience
because that was the back end of Peyton's career.
It was the absolute end, and it didn't matter if there was. He maybe didn't even need an offensive line.
just a singular guy, me or you, snapping him the ball.
Well, you see Brady and Rodgers do the same thing. Where if they look down the field, they don't see what they want. They'll just spike it right into the dirt.
Yeah,
they're like, this is a dead play. And Burrow's still young. He's running around. He's doing spin who's trying to get away from people. Like I ain't seen Tom Brady. That stuff is out of his window.
I wonder if guys like Tom Brady like watch that game and see Joe Burrow doing that and be like, what a young buck.
Oh, for sure.
Give him a couple years. He ain't leaving that pocket like that anymore.
Oh, dude, I used to see like high school footage of Peyton Manning, and he's like diving for the pile. Like who the hell's that guy?
That's not happening anymore.
No.
Oh man, but yeah, we'll see. I hope he stays in Cincinnati because I want to see, the Bengals the Bengals like coming from the absolute doldrums of the NFL and actually having a team now with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. I hope that dynasty kind of continues and hopefully they win some Super Bowls. But
and I mean that's how you build. They're building their team the right way. You build it through the draft, get a couple free agent snags, and a couple good players to fill in some slots, and that that's how it's always been done. And that's why the NBA. I really think we're seeing the end of the big three era. I think that's happening, Patrick.
I wouldn't be against it. I surely wouldn't be against it. It's honestly probably up to the GMs and how they want to position themselves. But I mean, also making money, bringing in a guy like Kevin Durant to go play with LeBron and Kevin Durant team up. You tell me they're not sold out every night. So I think, like money wise, it makes sense.
If Bronny James gets drafted to the Denver Nuggets or the Utah Jazz, will LeBron James be on the Utah Jazz or Denver Nuggets?
I heard there was a rumor that he wants to play with the Suns.
That's like a well-regarded,
okay, so it's happening
in the NBA.
When is he get drafted this year?
No. I think he's either a sophomore or junior in high school. So
and you can still get drafted out of high school. I think I'd go one and done, right?
You have to be 1 year removed from your high school graduation, but you can play in like the G League. I actually think that he might be able to leave high school early, go to the G League.
That's what I was gonna say. Like if you listen, you call LeVar Ball, he'll find you a way to get into the. He will find.
You'll be playing in Uganda.
He will find you a way to get into the NBA early. But I mean, I'm sure the NBA would find him a way to get into the NBA early because that would be fantastic for ratings too.
The thing is he's not definitely an NBA player.
He is now.
I mean, it might be like that. But there's only so many roster spots. He's like, I think he's ranked like 49th in the country in high school.
The thing is, if you're talking about business.
No, I get it.
You're gonna make money.
They had when J.R. Smith was an absolute loose cannon, and he was playing for the Knicks. They brought his brother on the team, Chris Smith, who I used to play against at Lakewood High School, and was competitive with. and I was like, what? I was like, Chris Smith is on the Knicks, and it was so well known in the NBA. And like as soon like J.R. Smith was like, yeah, I'm going to be on the Nuggets, and they're like, great, you're fired.
See you later, bud. You're terrible.
Team immediately. Yeah, it was. So it definitely does happen, but. I mean, you definitely take Bronny if you're getting LeBron, even though maybe LeBron's, says the AARP card. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I also want to. This is your topic that I wanted to bring up now that we're transitioning away from the NBA again. Is the Mark Appel stuff? So Mark Appel, former first overall pick, former teammate of Pat Light, tweeted this long ass thread. I read like a synopsis of it. Well, you want to take it here for Sean, because since you read the whole thing, and just give a brief summary.
I mean, it was basically about the whole minor league deal. Super credit to him, man. I mean, he's not had an easy road. Being the first overall pick, made many dollars, and has never played in the big leagues. Am I correct on that?
Correct.
Okay. He started the thread like saying like career minor leaguer here are just some of my thoughts on the situation. He opened it by saying like I haven't had to deal with this because I made a lot of money out of the draft, but this is what I've seen. And he basically just broke down the dynamics of like what are the big problems that minor league baseball players are facing, and it was housing, it was food, and it was off-season training. He's talked about how like a lot of guys drive for Uber in the off season. He talks about how like the different options for food and like the spread at the stadium isn't excellent, and they can only cook when they're at home. They can't cook when they're on the road, and you go to restaurants, but it's sketchy options. And he talked about how off-season training, it's like tough because everybody goes to different places, and there's the position coaches want you to film yourself throwing, and it's just kind of like Jimmy rigged. You're at like a high school gym throwing into a net and working out at Planet Fitness or something like that, and not really getting the the attention or stuff that you deserve. Look, I think that he brought up, this stuff that obviously you and I have known for many years. And I think that he brought up some solutions. Like he literally wrote down, like, here's some napkin math of what I think would work. He suggested that the teams hire 2 chefs and like build a kitchen at the stadiums. I think he said starting in AAA, and I didn't really read the math. I saw he wrote down the number $247,000, which immediately made me wonder if he realized how much money, like, somebody just going to write that check for minor leaguers. I think what people probably don't necessarily understand about minor leaguers is that, number one, it's your decision. You've made the choice to accept those terms. Nobody made you do that. I think it might be a little bit different when you're talking about like the Latin players who were coming up from nothing, and it's kind of like they're just signing all of these guys. And I mean, the whole Oregon system's like, you sign all these guys and you have no intent. You're hoping like 3 of them. You have your eye on like 3 of them. Like you're like, I'm going to sign this guy right now, and I'm never. I hope to forget his name the second after I sign him to a contract. And you're literally building teams around 3 guys to try to develop them so that they can get games in. I don't know. I don't know that they care. I think the big league clubs might just as soon have 2 minor league teams. I don't think that they really care about, I think you start pushing these buttons, you're going to see it be AA and AAA, or AAA and GCL, and figure it out. I do think that there are big gaps, talent gaps between the levels, but
is there a big talent gap between the levels because you drafted 70,000 players?
Well, definitely.
If you take the top 3 rounds and you have 2 minor league teams, you're only seeing top 3 round draft picks on every team.
Well, you tell me, like what is the difference between what, like, for you as the pitcher coming in, like, could you have gone to AA in your first year and been okay?
Yeah.
It would have been fine.
Yeah, I think
you would have hit just as many batters.
I think I think that if you eliminate a lot of the minor leagues, you do a AA and AAA, and you'd probably just do a AAA. Some of these old guys don't need to be bouncing around. The only reason you have them there is because you want, just in case someone goes down the big leagues, you have someone with experience rather than bringing up a young guy. But if you get rid of I think a lot of times you have people, myself included, you end up turning into busts because of how much of a pedestal you put the big leagues on, and how much. Oh, yeah,
people definitely don't understand that. Like, when you're in a spring training, like, it's like gods walking down from the other end of the hallway. It's like, I don't know what you guys had in Boston, but in the Diamondbacks, like, all of the minor league guys wore like gray pants and like super generic like jerseys, and then like the big league guys have the white pants. And you see the white, this guy's got white pants. This guy big leaguer. Like, it really is. And like, the Diamondbacks are horrendous. It's like, these guys aren't even good. He wouldn't have white pants if he wasn't on the team.
Yeah. So I think I think you put the big leagues on too much of a pedestal. I think that you make this like I played in the big leagues for a little bit. I wasn't very good, but the thing was, you get up there and you realize that these guys still fail 70% of the time as hitters. The pitchers, not everyone's throwing 100. Like yeah. Are we a little bit more crafty in what we do? Are we a little bit more intelligent in how we view the game? Yeah. But it's the same way in the NBA when you have a young rookie stud who's just using his athleticism to get by. And then you see him develop that basketball IQ as he goes throughout his career. Like that's that. I mean, the NFL, you get drafted and you're the starting running back next year. Like if you took some of these top round draft picks and you immediately put them in AAA and you don't have to wait 7 years to be a minor league free agent. And you all of a sudden now you're a guy that's looked at because because there's a quicker time period to be in the big leagues. You got to be up there in 2 years or so because of the union or whatever, what have you. I think you see a lot more guys succeed. Like it took me 5 years or 4 years in the minor leagues before I started getting in my own head. I could have been in the big leagues for 3 years by then. Like
I'll be in the Hall of Fame, damn it.
The thing is, you make it out to be this unbelievable thing to be in the big leagues, and you end up mind fucking a lot of people. You're telling me Mark Appel, who threw 100 his freshman year in college, who had some really good stuff. You're telling me you didn't mind fuck him in the minor leagues? Yeah. Like you're telling me that it's his fault? Like, yeah, I'm sure a part of it is and everyone's the counter argument to this is, yeah, we put you through the grind of the minor leagues to make sure you can withstand the big leagues and that you're not this mind fuck.
Why are they the only ones doing it?
Exactly. I think it's stupid. I think the only reason I want to keep some of the minor leagues is for the towns that they're in. They bring some of these really small towns.
Is awesome. Yeah,
they bring some of the really small towns to life. So I feel bad for that. And I also feel bad
for nostalgia in those games.
And I feel bad for the current minor leaguers that are the ones that are going to start losing their jobs because of it. That's unfortunate, but I think to be honest,
a lot of them should never have had a job. Like I
exactly, but it's unfortunate timing for it's unfortunate timing for these people. Like you don't get the
guys.
You don't see the Mike Piazzas anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you'll definitely miss out on guys like that. But I remember so many people. That I'd be like, listen, hear them talk and be like, yeah, I'm just trying to get to AA. And I heard a week ago, we're literally going to sign this guy for 14 days. And at 13 hours and at 13 days, 23 hours, I will send you the paperwork to cut this guy. And I'm like, it's just like, you never had it. You literally never even had a chance. And I definitely think that there's a lot of, there's something to be said about going right into, I think maybe having like the AZL, GCL, and then pop it right into AAA is probably because then the GCL is going to be savage.
I just think that the reason big league clubs do not want to pay these guys is because one, they don't make you money, and then 99%. Actually, it's supposedly it's 99% because the saying that I always tell people is that 1% of college baseball players get drafted, not college high school baseball players get drafted. And then 1% of that 1% step 1 foot in the big leagues for one day.
But I'll say that there's also this, and this better than anyone, is the culture of in baseball, the old school culture of paying your dues and going through the grind. Like the old timers, they're like, even in the strength and conditioning world, like, baseball is like the only sport that is so reluctant to look outside of the sport because like, well, why did you go into Beloit, Wisconsin's minor league team? Did you go travel on the bus? And it's like, no, I was studying and becoming an amazing strength coach. Well, you didn't be in the minors, so you can't, you don't know. And I think that I think baseball more than anywhere is we're going to keep it this way because this is how we've always done it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's stupid. Although I did see them in the recent CBA negotiations, the latest proposal from the owners was to eliminate more jobs from the minor leagues. I think it's the way to do it. I do. I think it's I'm sorry for you guys, but it's the way to do it. They're taking advantage of you as is.
And now full exploitation.
Full exploitation. They're taking advantage of you. Guys trying to start families. Guys need to do Uber rides. I remember our good friend Brian O'Connor calling me right after he got out of an Uber because the guy was starting to, like, brag a little bit about how he played for the Red Sox. And then Brian was like, well, my buddy plays for the Red Sox, Pat Lay. What's your name? And he had already gotten the guy's name. And as Brian was getting out of the Uber, the guy was like, please don't tell Pat that I'm doing this. And Brian called me immediately upon leaving the Uber ride.
He's like, okay, this is his plate number.
Yeah. So,
it's so embarrassing.
It is, but you're getting exploited. You don't have a chance. In order for you as a, now is only 5 rounds of the draft. Back in the day, were 40, 50 rounds. In order for you to get to the big leagues, the amount of good things you need to do and the luck you need to have, it's outrageous. And then they make this, as like almost like a Cinderella story. They romanticize the Mike Piazzas that went and did this. And now you're like, oh, well, let's keep, they like that. They like that story. But how about the thousands of other guys that had no chance and just, Mike was the lucky one. And that's why it is romanticized, because it is such a Cinderella story. But I think you need to get rid of it. I think you need to be more closer to the NBA, closer to the NFL, where guy gets drafted in the first round. The guy's really fucking good. Go let him learn. Okay, put him in AAA if that's what you need to do with baseball. Let him learn, and then go on. But the other thing, and this is what I do want to give a little bit of credit to the minor league system, is there isn't, the NBA, yes, the NFL for certain positions like the quarterback. There are your career it can be much longer in Major League Baseball because of how little physicality there is to it, as far as hitting each other and stuff.
Yeah.
So guys are better for longer amounts of time than in the NFL and in the NBA, just because of how physical those sports are. And I'm sure hockey's the same way, because that seems like terrible. But so I understand that, like, all right, well, we're trying to get the most out of John Lester for over a 15, 20-year career, where that same guy, John Lester, is really, let's say Philip Rivers. Well, Philip Rivers played for a really fucking long time, but like, a quarterback in the NFL that really only played 7 years, because that's a really good career in the NFL. So there is just more nuance to that. So I understand why you still need something, and develop guys a little bit. But I think AA and AAA, that's really all there should be. Maybe you give yourself like a GCL to bring Latin guys over and start that process a little bit differently. But there is no reason in my book that as a first round draft pick that you are not playing close to the big league level almost immediately. And you need to be in AA, AAA. And move that process along, because I think you're saying you're literally setting a lot of these guys up for failure. You're literally how many seasons, how many pitches, how you all of a sudden you get drafted. Right then and there, you're taught right when you step foot in spring training, people are talking about, oh, it's the big leagues. Oh, those are the big leaguers. Oh, you work hard for 3-4 years, you're gonna be there. That's gonna be you. We're gonna get you there. And now you're
not you, Timmy.
You're just planting these seeds in these guys' heads of how difficult it is to get there. And when you do get there, how difficult it is when you're there. You need 3 to 4 years to get there. No, you don't. I can only talk about myself, but you're throwing 100 miles an hour with a fucking splitter. People talk about my pre-minor league career, my A-ball careers, and how I didn't have good statistics. Go fuck yourself. The Red Sox took away my only out pitch, my splitter. They took it away from me. And made me go out there and try to develop a changeup. That was a waste of fucking 3 years.
The year before you were in the big leagues, you were the best pitcher in minor league baseball, no question. I remember I was in the minor leagues when I was in the minor leagues when Alex Bregman got drafted. He came through, where we were and stuff. I saw him a bunch. Saw him in the weight room. Dansby Swanson too. Dansby Swanson was like, all right, you're drafted number 1 overall by the Diamondbacks. Okay, go to Hillsborough. You're going to spend 8 hours there, and we're going to immediately send you to AA. like I was like, why are you even doing this? And then Bregman, I remember watching Bregman on the field, and everyone's like, yeah, that was the guy who picked 2 or 3. I forget which one it was, but they're like, that's the guy who got picked 2 or 3. And I'm like, this guy is better than every single person here. And he was there like for 10 days. And then they moved him right to AA. Guys like that, they just, there's no need for them to be in Quad Cities, Iowa.
No, there's not. But so the one thing I think that you need to eliminate minor league teams, get rid of them. And then on top of that, the one thing I really agreed with Mark was how baseball needs to try to make, instead of talking about the pie and divvying up the pie between the players and the owners, the one thing he made mention of, and this is the exact phrase he used was, you need to focus on making the pie bigger. Have those hard knock documentaries with baseball in spring training, do certain things that these other industries are doing, and make baseball bigger and more, and like just a little bit more sexy in today's world as far as TikToks and social media age and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I want a little bit more notoriety around it. And I think you start, not to say that these billionaire owners are not trying to make more money by making their pie bigger. I'm sure that they are. But I think they need to open up a little bit more. And like you said, look to other sports and not be stuck in the old ways so much. Like there was no reason for me in baseball in 2017 to be getting made fun of for trying to have a little bit more of a brand and a little more of a presence on social media. There's no reason for that. You should be trying to do that. David Price shouldn't be the only one that's allowed to try to do that just because he's David Price. So I do think you need to do those types of things as well.
I agree,
Agreed?
Patrick. I agree.
Agreed. Last thing I want to talk about, and this is a little bit more of the serious note.
Okay.
Have you seen the stuff going on in court right now with this Angel stuff?
Yeah, I did. I read it. And keep talking. I'm just going to grab a water.
Okay. So if you haven't, I'll bring up the speed as he's getting a water. Essentially, it seems as though this guy was giving out like Oxy and all this other crazy shit to the players. Now, the name that's getting brought up quite a bit right now is Matt Harvey.
Right.
I met Matt once out in Newport Beach. He was a Boris client. I don't know if he still is. I assume he is. But there were certainly rumors around baseball. I can't confirm any of them, obviously, because I never played with Matt nor saw any of this type of stuff. But there were certainly rumors around baseball that Matt was doing some side stuff as far as that type of stuff concerned. He has now confirmed that in the court. So
everybody knew he was a party guy.
Big party guy. He had some nosebleeds in during the Mets time, and people are now thinking that they weren't like this cool Dark Knight stuff. They were actually nosebleeds from doing cocaine. So probably. I mean, the quote I saw this morning was part of his testimony was that Matt was informed the night before that he wasn't going to be traveling with the team to the I think it was Houston is the Rangers where it all happened for Skaggs. Rangers. So he wasn't traveling with the team. He was upset about that and asked this guy Andy K, or I know it's K is his last name, to leave to give him a blue Oxy. Now I don't know if I don't know what the difference in colors Oxy. So I can't speculate. But apparently it was left in his locker. He then got it, but did not take it that evening. Woke up in the morning to find the news of Skaggs' death and did not take it because he was nervous it would be the same thing would happen to him.
Yeah, I saw the same thing.
Now, I don't know exactly the cause of death for Tyler Skaggs. I think it was an overdose and
it was
some
fentanyl.
type of drug.
It was fentanyl and alcohol. He died on his own vomit.
Oh, he choked on his own vomit. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I who knows? I mean, if I'm Matt Harvey, I'm like, oh my God, how quick did I just survive death? Like, was death staring me in the eye at that moment? And I just somehow I narrowly escaped. The one thing I want to make mention, I did make mention of this on a podcast I was a guest on last night. I want to make mention on this. I certainly know that there were drugs happening in baseball. Drugs are happening. They don't test for recreational drugs in Major League Baseball for good reason. Actually, probably not good reason, but for bad reason. But they don't do it. They stay away from it. And I never saw something like this though, and this is why this is being escalated.
No, this is. I mean, this is as bad as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, you have a legitimate drug dealer in your clubhouse. And now, granted, I bet you it's tough for the clubhouse attendants do make some decent money. I bet you this guy was making way more money because he's taking care of guys who are legitimate millionaires and can pay for this type of stuff. But at the same token, This is aggressive. This is not. I want people to realize that although drugs are being taken in Major League Baseball, both steroids and regular drugs, recreational drugs, this is not something that goes on in clubhouses frequently.
Yeah.
At least not that I know of. Certainly guys help other guys out and help them. You might be taking things that are borderline, but to be just handing out oxy to players is not something that happens in clubhouses. So I don't want people to think this is just happening and this is just the one that's being highlighted. This is certainly something that's unique in Major League Baseball that doesn't happen all that often. But it's crazy to see what's coming out right now.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of made it seem that it was more normalized than we might think. I think that, from my background, I'll say that those like painkillers that you get after surgery is heroin. Like oxy, it's like the same chemical makeup of heroin, and it really comes down to how addictive of a personality, like how addictive, like how vulnerable to addiction you are. So like I could take it and be fine, but you could take it and it immediately like grips you, and once you're there, that's impossible to come back from. And you don't know, like you see tons of stories of like normal people going for they get their knee cleaned up, and they are heroin addicts, a couple of weeks later. And I think that's the hard part about it. You see baseball, I mean, people getting Tommy John and all sorts of stuff, all sorts of surgery. I'm sure they're getting that stuff. And then you get the few guys who are locked into it, and that which is appeared to be what happened with Skaggs. And then, of course, you got your recreational fellows out there as well. But I think that's the nasty part of it is like you don't know. Like you take, like I got Vicodin, I think, for my wisdom teeth, and I refused to take it. It was like, I don't know if I'm that guy, and I'm not going to. I'd rather deal with the pain.
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I mean, it's certainly something that takes place when you get these surgeries. These surgeries always happen. These baseball players are given the best drugs in the world to be able to get back on the field as quickly as possible. And this is also kind of talks about the thought process as players, about how we're treated as horses. Once you're no good anymore, you're sent to the stable. You're be the slaughterhouse or whatever. And this is what it is. It's you're giving guys drugs that have a tremendous amount of side effects and the ability to get addicted, and then you're continue to giving them that because they probably say, oh, my shoulder hurts, or this hurts, or that hurts.
It is a little loosey goosey there.
Yeah, it's it doesn't take much, guys. Like when I was even in AAA, the doctors come to the clubhouse and I can say anything. You don't really know if I'm in pain. Like I can say whatever the hell I want. Like, oh,
10 out of 10 pain.
Yeah, do this exercise. Oh my God, nope, can't do that. But I can throw good. I just need to be out of pain. And okay. Well, here's the prescription for this, and that's really the extent of it. And
hopefully they don't give you oxys for that.
Yeah, hopefully they don't. But if you just got out of surgery, you need listen. It's just not quite there yet. I just need another refill. And now all of a sudden you need another refill. Now your buddy has a surgery. He gets the same prescription, but he doesn't need them. He gives them. You still need them? Okay, here you go. You just don't expect guys to be addicts.
Yeah,
I'm sure Tyler.
It's weird when it's like in front of you.
Yeah, I bet you this guy K didn't think this guy was an addict. I think he probably. I mean, I don't know the extent of it, but I would imagine he probably doesn't. And there's no one, I'm at the Angels organization. I bet you more people knew this was going on than you think. And,
I believe that. And
they turn a blind eye, and this guy is the guy that's going to take the fall for it. And
I bet they knew that things were going on. It's hard for me to believe they knew it was this serious.
Yeah.
Like I think everybody probably. My guess is that most people knew that Skaggs, messed around with some shit. I don't know that they knew what it was or where he was getting it. That would be, I mean, that's explosive. I feel like at that level of infraction, I hope they're not turning Skaggs. He was a good player, but it wasn't like they were turning a blind eye to Mike Trout,
And also, like the one of the guys that's giving a testimony is this guy, Mike Morin. I played with him in Seattle. Really good guy. He was also, apparently he's one of the guys that got oxy from this guy. Never in a million years would I expect. He was one of my better friends on the team. Never in a million years would I expect this guy to have been taking oxy. Now he might have been doing it because he had actually an injury. He stopped taking it once he didn't need it anymore. A lot of people go that route as well. So I'm not saying that Mike was addicted to oxy, because he wasn't, but it's not in my view. But you just don't expect these things. You don't see these things. People are good at hiding them. And it's
a lot more prevalent than we think.
Yes, and people have to realize that it's really easy to hide this type of stuff and get away with this stuff in Major League Baseball because of how easy it is. These doctors, they want to be the guy that gets cut in the clubhouse. Is there a possibility? You want to make sure that you're taking care of the guys that need to be taken care of. If you start saying, no, you don't need this, you don't need that, players start complaining, now you might not be the guy anymore. There's just these things that people don't take into consideration. And obviously this is something ridiculous. You need it. This guy is seemingly going to go away to jail.
As he should.
The thing that right now that they're talking about that people they don't know, they're trying to prove, is that what this guy gave him is the reason why he died. And like, they're trying to tie what was in his system. That's exactly what this guy gave him. And if they can't tie that together, I could see the guy getting off, because you're not, because I guarantee he's on the stand saying, yes, I did this, but his shoulder hurt, this hurt, like he was trying to get over this type of stuff. This is how we do this, blah 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 blah. And it just was a little frowned upon by the head trainer, so we kind of did it, behind closed doors. And I didn't kill the guy.
What is he being charged with? I think
distributing, and he's distributing opioids, and
we'll get that.
And being like, he is the cause of death for Tyler Skaggs. He caused the death.
Get that.
Yeah, he's not saying, they're not saying that like a guy got murdered or anything like that, but he is the reason the guy's dead. And it's going to be hard. I'm sure his lawyers are probably painting Skaggs in not a great light.
Yeah, they are.
I'm sure. The thing that I find the worst, and I don't want to harp on this too much, but the thing I find the worst is, you guys were doing Venmo payments for this. Like, that's you guys now meal money, you guys getting cash on the road. You're using Venmo. Like, you're asking for it. You're asking.
Well, a lot of these guys were from. I mean, who knows? I don't know anything. I think it's.
I don't know anything.
I think it's tragic, man. I think it sucks. I don't really. I don't know enough about the K guy to really have an opinion, other than he was doing things he shouldn't have been. But the whole opioid thing, that is just a living, breathing tragedy that's crushing so many people. And it's hard to escape. For regular people to really know what that is, that's hard.
Yep. And Big Pharma. Everyone's blame Big Pharma. So
they're the villains.
They are. And the other thing I just want to make mention of before we end this is just that to take a little, I know people aren't blaming Skaggs here, but you talk about people are vilifying Matt Harvey, although he was a party guy. And he did stuff he probably shouldn't have done. I think people have to realize the pressure that comes with being in the big leagues, staying in the big leagues. When you're a guy like Matt Harvey, being the Dark Knight, needing to constantly pitch well. I remember I was excited for it. It was Harvey Day when Matt was on the mound. It was awesome to watch. There's pressures that come with this that people don't really understand. They think they just live this great life and all that stuff, but there are pressures to be good all the time. And you have a very short window to be a Major League Baseball player, and you got to stay. Once you get up there, there's a tremendous amount of pressure to stay every outing, to go out there. And that's why a lot of people have criticized, not a lot of people, what am I talking about? No one's, me and you have criticized them. John Farrell for putting me in that position is because it's a difficult situation to be put in, and you're trying to get these guys to stick around. But regardless of all of that, there is a tremendous amount of pressure on these guys to do everything in their power to stay in Major League
Sure.
Baseball, and for no other reason. And this where we tie it all together, Sean. Here it is, because of the minor and how the minor leagues are and how shitty they can be for guys, and how you want to be in the limelight. You don't want to be out there because it sucks. Wow, look at that tie-in.
This is the perfect cherry on top here.
Phenomenal tie-in. Well, that's all I got. I hope you enjoy skiing, Sean. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys listening. Until next time, we'll see you later.
Sorry, we're closed.